Hey everybody. Sorry, messing with my hair. Um, so this is Rebecca with Red True Crime, and we are going to be talking about some case updates I have not covered here lately. So let's talk about a couple. First and foremost, I'd like to talk about Marissa Carmichael because we're getting on the 2 year mark of her disappearance. 2 years. So January 14th, it will be 2 years. So today's September 19th, October, November, roughly in 4 months. In 4 months, it'll be 2 years that she's been missing with no leads, no sightings, nothing, you know? And before I get too involved into this, I like to invite you all to subscribe, share, like, comment, all that good stuff, because at the end of the day, I'll be talking about things that they need leads for, and if it gets shared and sent around, then maybe somebody might see something or know something about that case and could break it wide open. So, share, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, please, because that helps with the algorithm. So, back on to Marissa Carmichael. Now, those of you that are new to the channel or may not even know who she even is. She is the very, very first case I ever covered on this channel. She's actually the inspiration for me to start this channel. Um, she's a local case to me. At the time when she went missing, she was 25 years old. She has 5 children, and she is from High Point, North Carolina. Now, she went missing in Greensboro, which is it's like super close, like 15 minutes away. And she had gone out with some friends to have a good time, and she never made it home. Now there's more parts to it, she got a ride. She left the club with a guy that nobody really knew, but she did have some familiarity with him. They got into an altercation. He kicked her out of the car, kept her phone. She went to a gas station, made a phone call to 911. They took 40 minutes to get there, and by that point, somebody else had come in and offered her a ride, and that was the last anybody saw of her. So she has not been seen since. So on January 14th, 2026, which is about 4 months from now, it will be officially 2 years since anybody had seen her, and, that's not good, because there's been a lot of speculation, like, did she run off? Is she being trafficked? Or is she unfortunately no longer alive? Those are your 3 options, and, I know her family is convinced that she is being trafficked, that someone she's being held against her will. And I know the original detective on her case made it clear that he did not feel that she was because there was no evidence showing that. But then he also said there's no evidence disproving it either. So it's just one of those things where it could be, it could not be. Because unfortunately, the East Coast, and I'm in Greensboro, so I'm really close to Charlotte. This is a massive hub for trafficking of people. This goes right to Charlotte, we're 3 hours from the coast. So if you go to one of those ports, those shipping containers, anybody could be in those. It's insane. So I wanted to at least give an update on that, and the update is there is no update. She is still missing. There is no evidence as to where she is or what has happened to her, and I know her kids would love to know where she is today and whatnot. So that is Marissa Carmichael. Now, another case I covered on here was one Jason Edward Kohler. Now, he got a little bit of notoriety because there is a group called Bikers Against Predators, BAP, and they set up sting operations to lure out child predators and turn them over to the police. And he was one of those predators, and he is in High Point, North Carolina. Now, this case has had me beyond upset because this is a guy who did 10 years in Minnesota, because that's where he's from, for abusing his own child, his own daughter. And in court documents in Minnesota, which I have published those on here, um, as I've gotten them, but in those documents, they made it clear that they felt that he was a risk to society, but because he had done his time, there was nothing they could do about it. So now he's in North Carolina, reoffending all over again. Now, he is being charged with 15 different counts of third degree exploitation of a minor. And if you go into the charging documents, that's part of our open portal system with the courts. It's extremely upsetting what materials he had on his phone. It's extremely upsetting. And when the biker group approached him, they approached him because they said, "You've been having a conversation with this girl, and how old is she? 11, and you were trying to meet her and all this other." Yeah. So he was trying to meet up with an 11-year-old girl. So he is still in jail. Um, he was given a very high bond. Now, in my opinion, I think if it's coming down to sexual predators, no matter who they're offending, I don't think they deserve bond because that goes to a psychology of craziness, where they are just wanting to abuse someone and take so much out of them and demean them and possibly kill them. I don't think these people deserve um bonds. I think they deserve to stay in jail until they are found guilty or innocent. That's my opinion. So he actually has a court date coming up, October 3rd. So I am very interested to see what comes of that because he's been sitting there since, oh gosh, I think I want to say like March or April. He's been there for a minute. So I'm interested to see what happens with this. Now, TK Burton. TK Burton's another case I've covered on here. Very unfortunate case. He is a guy who went missing in July of 2024, I think it was. I can't remember. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, he went missing out of Winston and he was discovered, yeah, 2024, and he was discovered deceased a few months later in Archdale, which isn't far from here either. Um, Eventually what has happened is they've arrested 4 people, one of them being one of his closest friends. And that man, Jacob Hill, has been charged with first-degree murder. The other 3 individuals, which is Caleb Teal, who is the half brother to Jacob Hill, Bo Benjamin Martin, who is another very good friend of Jacob Hill, and I always get his name wrong, Francisco Trejo Gonzalez. Those 3 have all been charged with accessory after the fact, with varying involvement, in this case. One was charged with accessory because he helped hide Jacob Hill for a while. One was charged because he helped get rid of evidence. Another one was charged because he was intimidating people. So, they're all involved. Now, what's interesting is there's not been too many updates. They were all in court on either September 15th or September 16th because they all had different dates. But Jacob Hill, they still have it where a jury trial is being started on December 25th. Now, courts are not open on December 25th. When they're going to update this date, I have no idea, but we're still waiting on that. Let's see. Bo Benjamin Martin and Caleb Teal were both in court on September 15th, and it doesn't say next court date or what's going on, but they're still Caleb Teal's still out on bond, but Bo Benjamin Martin is still in jail. So obviously something is being, transferred over or switched to or whatever. So who knows on that one. But Francisco Trejo Gonzalez actually he had court on the 15th, and I believe he is going back to court on December 16th. So we will see what's going on with that. Um, Tyreek Burton. He is the bridegroom who was gunned down over road rage at his own wedding reception. No one has been caught on that. No one knows what's going on with that. And unfortunately, there's a standstill in that case. Um, let's see. Promise Quick. Hmm. The last time I did a Promise Quick story, I had a comment from someone telling me to shut my damn mouth because I was talking about the perpetrators who were accused in her death. So let me say this to whoever the hell you are. I don't shut up. And I'm going to give my opinion. And if you don't like it, then don't freaking watch. Okay. So here's my thing. Promise Quick was this very energetic, very pretty 15-year-old girl from out of High Point, North Carolina. She was dog sitting at a house in McLeansville, which is like 20, 30 minutes away from High Point. For whatever reason, these guys who are much older than she is, I think they're like 22 or 23, were at this house and somehow she got shot and was killed. Here's my issue. 1, they're too damn old to be hanging out with a 15-year-old. That's 1. 2, let's see, the one that's being charged with second-degree murder, that is where is his name? Carell Tashawn Harrington. This guy never should have been out roaming around people to begin with, in my opinion. Um, because he's got charges pending. He's got second-degree murder over Promise Quick, and then, let's see, carrying a concealed weapon, possession of marijuana, which who cares on the possession part. But here's the thing, he's still got pending charges from 2024, and that was assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to kill, 2 counts. And with a minor present, assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to kill with a minor present. These are still pending. Why is he out? Here's something I don't understand. If you are being accused of assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to kill, does that not tell you that this person is trying to kill somebody? Why would you give them bond and let them out? Make that make sense. I don't get it. I really don't get it. They should have kept his ass locked up until all this was sorted out, because maybe if they had kept his ass locked up, Promise Quick would still be alive. Just throwing that out there. And his little buddy, who's being charged as an accessory after the fact, Micah Scott Douglas, um, he's also got counts of domestic violence, and he's still pending on, and assault by pointing a gun. These guys are just freaking winners, let me tell you. Neither one of them need to be loose, and all this stuff took place prior to, Promise Quick being killed. So, like I said, I know Micah Scott Douglas did not have a hand in killing her, but he helped in other ways. But he shouldn't be out. Domestic violence, keep your ass locked up. Just saying. And whoever made that lovely comment, come at me. Just make another comment. We can go back and forth, dude, or dudette. We can go back and forth because I don't care. These people are assholes, animals, whatever you want to call it. They killed a kid. So goodbye. Goodbye. But to give more context on Promise's case, let's see here. So she was killed on the early morning of July 2nd of 2025, so just this past summer. And the sheriff's department, responded to reports of gunshots at the residence at a 5,000 block of Hooper Road in McLeansville. Let's see. And during her time there, she had invited friends to come over and hang out, and those friends extended invitations to others, turning it into a small gathering. So that's how these guys ended up there. But whoever these guys were, they brought in guns, they were playing, and tragically escalated to the fatal shooting of Promise. Didn't get her help. They just disappeared. So these guys have been arrested. They're still in jail. They need to keep their ass in jail, and they probably need to go somewhere. But that's that case. And let's see, I think they go to court December 16th. Yeah. Um, that is, yeah, both of them go back to court December 16th. So I'll keep an update on that. And if you are not living under a rock, you have heard about the finding of one Travis Decker, father who has been on the run for months, accused of killing his 3 daughters in the woods. So, Travis Decker is a 32-year-old US Army veteran from Wenatchee, Washington, and had a history of mental health struggles and including PTSD, stemming from his 2014 deployment to Afghanistan. He was administratively separated from the Washington National Guard in 2023, and due to these issues, Decker divorced his wife, Whitney Decker, in 2023, after which she was granted full custody of their 3 daughters, Peyton, who is 9, Evelyn, who is 8, and Olivia, who is 5. Due to concerns over his instability and lack of mental health resources, court-ordered visitations were limited to 3 hours on Fridays and 8 hours every other weekend, and it was restricted to the Wenatchee Valley area. Decker was described by acquaintances as an active dad who appeared engaged with his children. But Whitney had been seeking further restrictions. No prior red flags were reported before the incident, and Decker was reportedly homeless at times, living in his white 2017 GMC Sierra pickup truck or at motels and campgrounds. So the case unfolded as a tragic custody visitation gone horribly wrong, highlighting issues of mental health access for veterans and family court oversight. DNA evidence from the scene exclusively linked Decker with no other suspects identified. So on May 30th of this year, around 5 p.m., Decker picks up his kids from their mother's home in Wenatchee for a scheduled visitation. He chats briefly with his ex-wife, promising to return by 8 p.m. Surveillance footage captures his truck. Let's see, where was I? Captures his truck heading west on US Highway 2 towards Leavenworth. Girls miss a planned family event. At 9:45, Whitney files a civil complaint with the Wenatchee police, unable to reach Decker as his phone kept going to voicemail. And patrols search motels and use license plate readers, but they can't find him. So eventually, they put out the information that they're looking for him. And then let's see here, around June 2nd of this year, Decker fails to show for work at 3:45 p.m. Tips lead Chelan County sheriff's deputies to the Icicle Road area near Leavenworth, about 17 miles west. They locate Decker's unoccupied truck near Rock Island Campground with his dog inside and two bloody handprints on the tailgate. Let's see. A massive search involving air and ground teams uncover the girl's body. It's approximately 100 yards away, hidden in dense brush. The scene includes plastic bags over their heads, zip tied wrists, scattered zip ties, and additional bags near the truck. The alert is canceled, and Decker is charged via arrest warrant with 3 counts of first degree murder and 3 counts of first degree kidnapping. And the FBI joins the investigation. So, we have more people looking for him, vigils, all that stuff. So eventually, let's see here. During a routine aerial survey south of Leavenworth on Grindstone Mountain from the crime scene, a drone spots unusual material under thick vegetation in an uninhabitable, steep area over 1,000-foot elevation gain. So very high up. Detectives rappel from a helicopter, hiking nearly 3 hours to access. They recover bone fragments, scattered human remains, basically things that have been disturbed by animals, and clothing matching Decker's description and personal items. Now, decomposition was very advanced, and cause of death has been undetermined, but they're thinking it's possible self harm, exposure, or possibly an accident. But they have confirmed it's him. So they're no longer looking for him. This just goes to this guy had mental health issues. He had PTSD issues. He was a former military person. Um, Until they could determine he was stable, I don't think he should have been left alone with those kids. I don't think so. Not saying he never should have seen his children, but they should have the fact that he couldn't maintain a job, the fact he couldn't maintain a residence, there were things going on with him that they should have, seen something was wrong, you know? Um, Child custody is just one of those situations where the courts need to use better sense, in my opinion. You've got women who are automatically getting custody that shouldn't have it. You've got fathers getting visitation that probably shouldn't have it. Mothers getting visitation that probably shouldn't have it. It's a dicey situation. And no matter how much evidence you have to either way, it doesn't go the way it probably should. And this is a case right here. I mean, she had full custody, but for him to be granted visitation on the level he was should have been probably, I don't know. I mean, he should have probably been meeting them in an office, where it was supervised until he was more stable. That's just what I'm saying. But unfortunately, this is what happens when you have people with mental health issues and they're not supervised. So I feel for the mother, I really do. Whitney Decker is now we're months later. I don't know how she's functioning, if she is functioning. This is just horrible. But now there's closure. He's dead. Her kids are dead. And the rest of the world has gone on. The other thing that bothers me is I've been seeing many video of, people defacing Charlie Kirk memorials. Like I said, not a follower of Kirk, not even really a follower of his beliefs or anything. But I do have a feeling that when people put up memorials for people, you should leave them alone. Don't destroy them, don't deface them, don't demean them. You shouldn't do that. That's just how I feel. That's just when it comes to the dead, I just don't believe in messing with cemeteries and whatnot, and or even memorials. But that's just my thought on that. But yeah, those are most of the updates I have. I mean, other than the fact that why the heck is this singer D4 Vid or David? Why is he still wandering around free as a bird? Why have they not put cuffs on him and brought him in for massive questioning? I don't know how much more evidence they need that he's involved with this girl. He may not have killed her, but they need to bring him in and sweat the hell out of him. You know, matching tattoos. She's been hanging with him since she was 12. What the hell? Why did her family allow this to happen? Because she's 12. Now, granted, she's 15 now. Well, she's dead, but she's 15. Celeste Rivas Hernandez had no reason to be hanging out with a 20-year-old man. Now, I know she ran away. I know he's paying off her friends, but this speaks on many levels of predatory behavior on his end, severely predatory behavior. And now this girl's dead. Now this girl's dead. So I look forward to seeing what other investigation things come up with this, but also Liam King out of Ashboro. No updates on that case whatsoever. We do know that the boyfriend who was supposed to be watching Liam King on the day he went missing is not somebody who probably should have been around a child. I know people are saying, well, he was not somebody who was illegally here in the country. That has neither here nor there for me. He had a criminal record. He had just gotten out of jail. These are things that he should not have been with a child who obviously was severe special needs, that was obviously needing of support, and this guy just turned him loose. So, I mean, the mom has got issues too. I mean, I'm just saying, how many times did this kid get loose and it was documented and nobody did any type of investigation? So, he was nonverbal autistic. He was prone to run around, run away. You don't leave them unsupervised. I mean, and now this poor kid, he's 7 years old and he's dead because people didn't take care and watch after him. And then again, it's been more than a week now and no update on this case. What is going on here? Oh, another case. I forgot about this one. Larry Burton, 84-year-old man out of Greensboro that went missing right around the 4th of July, walked out of a unlicensed nursing home and has not been seen since. Now, this man had dementia. He also had a catheter in him. So that needs to get changed out. And nobody has seen or heard from him since he left that nursing home, which he had only been at for a few days before he walked out. Now, that nursing home has been shut down. I do not know if the owner or the director is going to be facing any charges for neglect or any type of issues, with this place and with not keeping tabs on him. Nothing has been said about this. But that man is still missing. No one has seen him. And unfortunately, at the time in the area where he went missing from in Greensboro, we had a lot of massive heat waves and then a lot of rain with a lot of really bad flooding. So I do not think Larry Burton is still with us. I think he is probably in a storm drain somewhere. That's what I think. But it's been, let's see, 2 months, nothing, more than 2 months, and nothing. And I feel for the family on this. I really do, because it's the not knowing. Just like Marissa Carmichael's family, it's the not knowing. Just like Tyreek Burton's widow, it's the not knowing who did what they did to him. So, the cases that have no resolution in sight, I feel for the family on this because that has got to drive you crazy because there's nothing. So, yeah, it's crazy. So I'm gonna hop off here. I'm gonna come back probably tomorrow and do a brief one on, Crime Stoppers because, they do a lot of missing posters, and it's interesting some of the things I found out, and, I'm gonna talk about that. But otherwise, Imma let you all go. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime, and as I have said before, be weird, be rude, be safe, but subscribe, share, like, comment, and send it on its way. And everybody, thank you again for tuning in, and have a great night. Bye.